just doing a short video explaining my yesterday's video. Since when you practice magic, there are some things that usually occur, and that's when you start to really search for different ways of doing things. And the honeymoon period is usually 1.5 years to 7 years, when everything is new, exciting, and power is very seductive, and you want to change your work and friendship and family life and rise to the top and so on. And there's also that thrill with keeping a secret that nobody knows about and all that. And then for many people it ends up with that they change their friends and families, they divorce or marry and so on, and work as well, since they don't really feel that they like their old friends anymore. And when the dark night of the soul or the honeymoon period is blocked, that's what I call the spiritual holding tank, when nothing feels exciting. And it's not a depression. It is just that what everybody else thinks is magic, it becomes mechanical, and there's no joy or something to that. And that's when many connect to different spirits or change pantheons and so on. And my way out of the first horrible shock, since of course when you are young you think that everything is right and everything suits you, and so I studied philosophy, religions, and then nature science is a big for me. I like the organic chemistry, and I studied druidry from the 70s and early 80s there, and then I tried energy by doing martial arts and so on. And these been just things that helped others when I tried to help them. That when let's say that you tell somebody to do weight training or strength training, they are training endurance, strength, focus and persistence. And it is just like that with magic, that if you can combine magic with physical activity and with completion of everything you do, that's when you start to really get into the balance of things. And then that you practice writing out rituals from scratch. Take a Donald Duck and write a ritual for it, or any kind of tale, and think your way out. You might read something in the newspaper and you think it through, what would you have done, and so on. So you just think it out. And you can place what you would have done if you were that person. So that is just an exercise that I usually try to encourage. And then you can shift, replace and try what fits you. So once you have old manuscripts, you don't need to buy really expensive books. You can there are many manuscripts for free, or you can. We all had that Jordan Peterson's CD with the old manuscripts, and then of course it doesn't contain all, so you have the libraries and microfilms. And that's when I use the Bible. Others might use some other book, and I shift, I replace, I try, and what fits you. And that's where the prayer books and all those, whether it's Hebrew or Catholic, Orthodox or Anglican or Protestant, or you just shift and replace and see since you're building up the power with your intent there. And what I at least found, that there are so Tibetan Buddhist monks, they have the Book of the Dead and so on, but sometimes there is real literature that is a thick book missing. So it's not always so easy to find, at least for one god. you might find like a paper for each goddess and god, but then there's not much else. And so you really have to dig into history as well and those things to find out things. And there are existing rites in every religion, so don't ever look down at some other religion, since they all have rites for death, birth, and so on. And the more people that has, let's say, practice the rite, the more power it gets. So it is always nice to link in yourself with what has been existing from the old days. You can change the prayers, you can change the words, and even within the churches they might use different psalms or places in the Bible to confront the person and so on. But it is something that you are going to do yourself, but just follow the modules that are put in place. And once you understand one module, you can mix into and look from other faiths and see how it works out. And there are some civility. People always have prayed for protection and for food and shelter. So it's the armor. And then there's an old saying, confession is bliss for the soul. And if I just look at what's done in in Catholicism, is fasting, purging, flagellation, and but that goes into many traditions, whether you are from what part of the world. If you look at shamanism, walking on fire, huge pain that you have to endure, and fasting, of course. Fasting seems to be the common thread in every spiritual practice. It is that initiatory rite that you fast for 9 days and to connect to the spirits. And it isn't just the angels, it seems to go with all spirits. I had people who tried everything, and they are really experienced, and they have been doing magic for 9 years, and the only thing I can point out that did you do the fasting and initiation, and usually when they've gone to that bit, that's when it really starts. So, but there is that you have to do that and still function in a modern world, and that is not so very easy, so you are so focused on connecting there. And then I just thought of some old sayings. The devil is nice to tourists but a terrible landlord. And that goes with so much of many spirits, if you put it like that. It's nice for them to have somebody new, but once they know you, they don't come to your aid so quickly. And then there's also one saying, he who curses other curses himself in the end, and that usually happens, especially later on in life. Once you've done too much cursing on others, it's your spontaneous reaction to everything, and that's when it starts to... So in the end you have nobody to blame, you have nobody to ask for help. And that's the harsh reality of cursing without even thinking through things. And time has no beginning or end in magic, and that is true. Sometimes I start doing a ritual, and then 2 years after a ritual I realize why I did the change, since that change happened, let's say, for 6 months ago, and I did magic 3 years ago. So that is just like it is. And a funny way things worked out for me. I started with studying Konrad Lorenz in 1973. I got his book about animal psychology. Then I didn't like Sigmund Freud, so I started reading Jung. And when I heard about Jordan B. Peterson's archetypes, Jordan B. Peterson's Jungian archetypes are the best I ever heard from anybody. So So that was the short of the sticks, that things change and they shift, and that's the natural law. And I hope you might find it interesting and be inspired, at least. That's the main goal here, that you search and build up your own. And when you build it up with thought and intent, and then you add in spiritual practice, if you like, and so on, that's where the real power comes from. And if you find a